Alright, well, it's been a few days. This was just delivered. It's my friend Rich's Trike. He hasn't driven it in 2 years, I believe. He got it, rode it around for a while, and it died on him. And he doesn't know why. He had it towed home and they put it in storage, and it's been in storage for 2 years. Pretty cool looking single port engine. It has dual carbs. It's nice and clean. Could be something stupid. He has no idea because he never really had anybody look at it. But I've been charging the battery and it only goes to 4. I don't think it's going to take much because it's looks pretty nasty. But I'm going to clean up the battery leads. It's got an 09 distributor in it. Probably not a bad idea, but it's got this weird oil setup. It's got a really thin oil line that goes to this filter. And I don't see that working right, you know. Got a lot of crazy hookups too. A gauge, I can see a gauge, but all the wires are just too short. Everything's just wrong. Those carburetors looking really dry. Like they need some cleanup. I bet there's some really nasty gas in there. It does have a generator, which is kind of unusual. It is leaking like a sieve. It's got some adjustable rod, push rod tubes, and then some aren't. Some are stock. Yeah, these ones are stock right there. And it leaves a hell of a puddle on the ground when it does have oil. That's the first thing I'm going to check, see if it's got oil. It looks pretty clean. It's not too shabby. Gas tank's right there. Tiny little thing. But it's cool. This is, to me, this is, oh, I can't think of his name. I can see his face, though. It's a design. I gotta take that thing off, too. Get that out of the way. I want to see the crank turning. Nobody's tried to turn this thing over since it died. It has literally sat in a shed for 2 years. It used to have an old school radio. Maybe I can clean that up and put a nice one in there for him. It's really cool. It's a little rusty and a flat tire. I just, like I said, just got the battery tray out. That looks pretty cool. Really neat design the way they did it. It sits in a tray and the tray just swivels down via 2 muffler clamps. I wish I could do that, but I have independent rear suspension and I have things in the way. So I'm going to try and put either my battery or get him another battery and get this thing cranking, but I want to get that pulley shield off. I hate those friggin' things. It does have an electric fuel pump. I believe it's right here. And it's kind of just hanging there off of a tab. Does it work? I don't know, but we'll find out when I hit the key. We should hear something going on. A little clicking, some engine turning over, make sure it's out of gear. I do have a stopper in front of it. I have a battery for my Trike unless it's in it. Mine's sitting over there taking a break. Let's try. Let's first check the oil, which it's right there. Alright, Rich, well, we've narrowed it down to a few things. I have both valve covers off and I checked the rockers. No broken studs or nothing. Everything seems to be okay. I checked spark on all 4 leads off the coil and they seem to be okay. What else did I do? I checked power to the coil before that. The fuel's garbage. I got to dump it all out. I'm probably going to pull the line off of this one, and it's got an electric pump, so we should pump it all into a bucket or something. We'll put some fresh fuel in here. Guaranteed I'm probably going to have to take the carburetors off and clean them. The other thing is this linkage rod was popped off. That's not a good thing. And it's got no oil in it whatsoever. Maybe a little bit, but not enough to keep it running. If it did run, it probably got really hot. But the one thing that was really strange is I decided to take the spark plugs out and check them out. Now, the two on the right side, on the passenger side, are Bosch Platinums. And the two on the left side are Bosch Supers. Now, one looks like a normal spark plug with very, very little gap. And this is a Platinum. I didn't like Platinum since the day they come out. They suck. They just don't work right. I think they break internally, and then they just don't spark at all. You could run 110 volts through that thing, it wouldn't make a connection. They're garbage. So, thinking tomorrow we're going to pull the carburetors off and get the gucky gas out of them and pop them back on. Get the gucky gas out of the tank. You can smell it. It smells like turpentine. And pull this carburetor off and clean it up. And grease and lube everything and put some fresh gas in and see what happens. It's turning over and cranking and it wants to go and everything. I just disconnected the battery. Oh yeah, this battery's junk. It will not take a charge, so we got to measure it up and find one to fit, and then we can pop that in, and then that's the least of our worries. The other problem I found, this is the old copper ground strap. Now this was turned into a battery lead, but it broke off. I mean, I touched it and it fell off my hand. So I cleaned it with a wire brush, and I had my clamp here, and I had a good battery on the floor to crank it over. Which, if it's out there, I got to bring it in right now. But anyway, Rich's Trike. It has a sending unit for a gauge. It has like an oil pressure light or a temperature, possibly. What gauges we got up there? We have, it has a temperature gauge right there too. That's pretty cool. And it's got this little tiny oil line that goes up into a filter. And then that return line goes down to a cooler and then goes out back. This thing has almost no cooling for it. That tiny little line is supposed to cool this whole engine? Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. I don't dare take this thing off yet. I don't know what that is. But this little thing is a line. A tiny, tiny little 1/8-inch line that comes off that side, goes into the filter, and the filter goes into a hose, a huge hose, like a 1/4-inch hose or 1/2-inch hose, and goes out back to a surface-mounted oil cooler that returns here. That's the only cooling this engine has. That's ridiculous. There's probably no cooling at all for the oil. I just don't see it working that way. This line should be huge. There should be a 1/4-inch line at least going into that thing. And they're using the engine oil pressure. Why not a remote-mounted one with a lot better lines than that? I like the one that sticks out the side that mine has, but clearance would be a problem with this bumper. You'd have to notch it or something, but still, much cooler setup than this thing. This thing's freaking scary. I wouldn't trust that on my engine. Oh, the biggest thing. Like I said, no studs are broken on the crank. I mean, on the rockers. The heads could be cracked. I don't know. It depends how hot he got these things. The only thing I have left to do is possibly a compression test on all 4 cylinders to see what we got, and cross your fingers, but that's about it. You can see how long she's been sitting. I could write my name in the dust. And the plugs, not so much that they're both different. They were hand tight. I could take these out with my finger. I slid the socket in, and it was like, what the hell? One of them had maybe 3 threads, and it came out my hand. I think that's a big problem. It could have been backed out halfway from all the heat, or whoever put them in was an idiot. Didn't torque them down. So I'd like to try a compression test tomorrow. I know I have a tester. It's down in here somewhere. Ugh. Yeah, I'm going to have to dig for that. It's here somewhere. I just seen it. But I have a compression tester. We'll test all 4 cylinders. We'll get 4 new plugs, some new gas, and we'll go from there. Alright? Have a good day. Well, I have some bad news. When you can put your finger over the spark plug hole and crank the thing over, and there's nothing going, you have a disconnected connecting rod, or I don't know, I think the rings are seized into the piston, because if it has 2 pounds of compression, I'd be amazed. And that's just on this one cylinder in front. I'm thinking he ran it hot because of that cheesy oil cooler with the oil filter it doesn't need, and it just smoked this engine. we should be looking at. The case is okay, the crank is okay, I hope, but jugs and pistons are probably nasty. Could have sucked I don't know. It's got no compression. I gotta have somebody turn it over while I got my finger on this side, but it's a pretty engine. It's about all it is. We've got to find a better way to cool it than that piece of crap. That sucks. What the fuck is this? Pardon my French. Where's that going? Oh, they gotta just run into the ground. That's awesome. The vent for the oil tube just vents to the ground. Okay, that's why it marks its spot too. Pretty looking bike with a shitty motor. That means this bumper's got to come off. All this stuff's got to come off. This engine's got to be rebuilt. Sorry, Rich, it doesn't look good for this summer. Unless you can buy some parts. Let's see what happens. Bye. Alright, we got the engine out of Rich's Trike. Let me go over here. Look at this mess. The engine is out of Rich's Trike. That's the bracket for the back. Looking good. This is I believe a 1500cc. I got to get the numbers off it. It's got to be the worst oil cooling, whatever you want to call it, setup I've ever seen. Like I was saying, it goes from this tiny line into the filter, and then it does this huge thing to a remote oil cooler, and it comes all the way back around and goes into this little tiny filler thingy in the front of the friggin' generator stand. Can't tell me there's oil flowing through that. All along, it has the factory oil cooler in there. The in-shroud oil cooler, which would have been more than enough. This engine is smoked. I believe it needs cylinders and jugs. We have absolutely no compression whatsoever in any one of the 4 jugs. So this one has to be taken down. And we'll do what we can. But I am out of breath from yanking on this thing and got it on the ground. We used a floor jack in the middle. This bracket kind of got in the way, but all of a sudden it come crashing to the ground and didn't hurt nothing. I had that jack under it. Whew! I am going in. You have a good night. I'm going to be putting a lot of video time together. I have some high-speed videos and just this, that, and the other. But this isn't my trike. This is my friend Rich's, so this is how I get parts for mine. Mine's out there, relaxing. Alright, have a good night. Alright, well, let me shut my fan off here. The dual vacuum distributor is all cleaned up. I took it apart all the way down to the points, cleaned it out, new points and condenser, made sure the vacuum worked, just wire brushed everything and coated it with oil. New seal. Cleaned this up. I couldn't get the pin out. I really don't want to wreck it, so I left the pin in and I just spun it until it was clean. Washed it all out in the parts cleaner. Looks pretty good. You got to consider this thing was made in probably '74, because I believe that's the year of my engine. But this is for the Trike. I did do some kind of a high-speed video about taking it apart and everything. I'm not going to do too many of those. It's cute for driving and stuff, but that's about it. Maybe as a joke at the end of the video I could do some of those. Let another camera or my tablet run somewhere and do the high-speed video of me working all day, then make a video and tag that on at the end. But this is pretty cool. It's all nice and clean. All I used was wire brush, my 6-inch wire brush on the bench. Oh, I had a brass brush right here. Brass is really good. Cleans it up, gets the grease off, gets the dirt off, but doesn't destroy it. I don't want to polish it. I wanted to keep the original patina of it. But it's looking good, and this thing's got to go in the Trike engine, because this is for a 34 pick 4. This is the dual vacuum. It's got 1, 2. One goes on the front of the carburetor, and one comes out the side of the carburetor. And I have a picture of it somewhere how it goes. What happened was I had this distributor, and I was thinking Volkswagen. I was thinking '09 is better, so I have an '09 now. But I accidentally I sold mine. I sold my double vac distributor like this. It's in one of the pictures of the engine, the original way it was when I found it in that little mud buggy thing. But this one's all set, ready to go back in, or ready to go in as the new one. I have another one that it's just a single vacuum advance, or SVA I believe they call it. Now I could earn enough stuff to rebuild that one too, but I just wanted mine rebuilt. This can go in the Trike real soon, and plan on seeing a video on it. Have a good day. Alright, as you've seen earlier, probably in the same video, I rebuilt this one really quick. I'm going to rebuild either this one or the other one I have for Barney Beasley. And I'm going to send probably this distributor. And I'm going to send these intake manifolds and probably this distributor to Barney Beasley and Scott Cash. Now Scott Cash was the guy earlier at the end of last summer who sent me that fuel pump rod, so now we're going to return the favor, right? So let's get to cleaning one of these up. I'll do it in high speed. I'll do like 0.3 seconds or it'll take a picture, just so you can see what's going on. It'll be a lot slower than the other one, but I'm not going to do a full video on rebuilding this thing. If you want to rebuild this thing, look it up. There's a million people that rebuild it. I'm just going to take it apart, partially clean it, and put it back together. Now I'm not going to go down to the BB. There's a little BB under that plate. I'm not going to go that far down. There's a little BB under there. Right here, that black thing. Just holds the plate down. So, having fun. Stuck in Boston today, working in the convention center. I'd really like to go home and work on my trike today. This is pathetic. Guy from New York in front of me. Stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Oh, those sunglasses are bad. Anyway, sitting in traffic, waiting to go home so I could play with the trike. I'd really like to pull it out, maybe clean the garage, see what's going on. It's not happening. I'm like 3 exits from home. I'm gonna run out of gas if this keeps up. They're doing dynamiting up ahead, something stupid. But I'm putting this guy on YouTube. Oh, I got my little thing in the way. Let's move it over. Here we go. Kind of shaky. I gotta put some Velcro on this thing. That would work. I'm not moving, so it's easy to just sit it on the dash. This is my big camera. Sony HD blah blah blah. It's a little thing. It's a handheld. It should record pretty good compared to the other one. A little tricky, all these cameras. I got, like I said, 1, 2, 3 of them now. I'm gonna try and set them up here and there in the shop and see what I can do for video if I ever get home. Work on the trike. I want to go home. Of course, everybody's on their phone or texting, or I should talk. I'm taking a video, but whatever. Not like I'm moving. Fall asleep. Oh. It's 4:50 right now. I'm still on my way home out of Boston. This usually happens every day lately. And by the time I get home, I am dead tired. This is crazy. Should have got off and went up 28 or something. There's 2 douchebags beside of me showing their muscles. I almost died laughing. Drive by and the kid's making a muscle, showing his friend. Go ahead, touch it. Touch it. I think he didn't catch up with me because I was laughing my ass off. Pools by Alliance. The last thing I'd want to work on, a pool. This guy in the HHR in front of me. Wash your car, will you? For God's sakes. People are using the crossover for the other side to go the other direction. This is a good way to get arrested. Look at it. Oh my God, a backhoe. What an idiot. Come on, you're killing me. Love that commercial. There's the 2 douchebags now. They're right beside of me. They're in a little Honda right here. Let me get a video. There they are. Kid you not, one was making a muscle to the other one on his arm and telling him to touch it. Yo man, I've been working out. Oh, I was fucking dying. Oh, I want to get home. This is going to be a 20-minute video about me driving home at 1 mile an hour. These people are crazy. They want to get killed. Caution, something 2 miles, left lane closed. What are we doing? Guy in the motorcycle going up the way station over there on the right. Oh, he's pulling over. I should have done a, what the hell do they call it? Let me look at my tablet. Should have done a time-lapse video. I think I'm going to do that in the morning, going into Boston. Both of my neighbors cut the grass today. Now my house looks like a good place to score meth. Okay. The douchebags in their fluorescent shirt are outside of me. These people want to die. Oh, douchebags just went. Look at them turning around. You can't do that. Idiots. Someone's gonna get killed. Oop. There you go. Where? Oh my God. Where you going, dirty car? He ain't gonna let you go. Wash that thing. Oh my God, I'm falling asleep. Why didn't you work on the trike today, Rob? Well, see, I didn't get home till it got dark. Real dark. It's 5 o'clock. 10 minutes, I think I've gone 200 yards. Football players go further. Come on. This happens to me every day. And then I go home and eat. Go outside, and it's pitch black out. I hate working outside. What am I gonna do? Say hi to Richard Peak and hi to Dell over there in the UK. George, you know who you are. Don Gray. Anybody and everybody. There's so many people and so many names to remember sometimes. Come on, I want to go home. Fucking. I'll go up there and set the dynamite off. Come on. Are we shaking? Yeah, we're shaking for some reason. There you go. I gotta put Velcro on this camera. I got a whole bunch of Velcro so you can stick it to things. I've got a really nice tripod in my bag. I'm gonna start using it. I had to glue a washer to the bottom of this camera because the mount on the bottom started to crack. I was using it a little too roughly, or maybe a little too much, but of course everybody's on the phone or texting. I'm talking to you. What other camera does, yeah. Let's try number 2 camera. We gotta get a camera bag. These things are getting killed. Do. This one doesn't tell me, it just says HD. It doesn't say what screen mode or anything it is. Oh HD60 and HD60 and VGA in picture. So I guess I could do HD60. Really bad music, dude. Let's see. Where can I put this? Oh, this one spreads out. I can put this one like that. Yeah. I wish my tablet had a, what do you call it? A 1/4-20 mount on the bottom so you can, you know, mess with it. It doesn't. Alright, let's try this other camera. How do you record here? I think I hit beep. Alright, we're recording on camera number 2, right next to the right of this one. Let's see how that one looks. Camera number 3 is put away as I rear end this poor guy in front of me. Alright, I'm going to put the big camera away. I'll show you what the little camera number 2 looks like. Looks like a 4th gen Camaro. You know how many I see of those? None. I've had mine 2 months now. I've seen maybe 5. That's it. They only come out in the summer. So here's a new one. Here's my nice, cool tripod. Alright, shutting this one off.